Hello students. Hosh Amdeed, welcome and Hosh Galdenes. Today we are going to discuss restoration and romantic drama. Yes, we are going to discuss the historical journey of English drama because I'm uh, also trying to take the historical journey of different genres alongside. So today I have decided to discuss with you the restoration and romantic drama. As we all know that restoration is marked by the term restore. So it is the restoration period in England is actually the restoration of monarchy when Charles II he got back his throne and the monarchy came into power again after some time. In between that there was a time period of Commonwealth government of Oliver Cromwell, and during that time period was known as Puritan Age. And in Puritan Age there were strict norms exercised in the society of England in the name of religion, and all the aesthetic activities were banned. That's why the literature produced during that time period wasn't much in quantity, but only carrying a few poets and poetry and a few prosaic pieces that were discussing religion and politics and morality on that time. Then with the restoration of monarchy, there came a great revolution because Charles II got back his throne with the help of France, so he brought French manners with him. Uh, when we talk about the medieval ages in England, there was the time period of the domination of French manners on that time that was evident on the in the literature of that time. When we study the prologue to Canterbury Tales and Canterbury Tales, we find different characters portrayed by Chaucer having French manners in order to pretend to be fashionable and classy. Same was the condition of that society in the restoration time period, and the restoration time period starts from 1660 and it ends on 1700. Well, this time period is marked by a great change because the restoration literature just bid farewell to the models that were given by Shakespeare and Marlowe in the form of their remarkable dramas. Their languages and their dramas and their form was considered outdated by the restoration writers because they were tended to follow the French writers and the French manners. On that time, the focal aim of the literature and literary writing was to serve the political as well as aesthetic functions. So both of those purposes they were taking themselves uh, in parallel with literature. So the literature was used as something that was used to impose the French ideology on the English society of that time. So we find a lot of new things, a lot of innovations in the literature of Restoration time period. Although the literature of that time period was not considered a disciplined literature, but still there are some innovations. First of all, a few writers they tried to portray the realistic picture of that time, which was extremely frivolous, and that was discouraged because the society was extremely in influence of puritanic religious bent. So that type of people, that bent of the society just rejected those frivolous models, and secondly, those realistic models were not encouraged. Then the writers started using irony, they started using satire, they started using humor in order to convey their thought. In I mean, they tried to sugarcoat the situations of that time in the form of their literature they presented on that time. When we talk about the drama of Restoration period, the drama of Restoration period was marked by a great change because they didn't follow Shakespeare, they didn't follow Marlowe, they didn't use their language, they considered them outdated. And a new form of drama that was emerged on that time in England was the comedy of manners. Now, what is meant by comedy of manners? Comedy of manners was actually a type of drama that was intended to ironically and humorously portray the frivolous society, so called frivolous, sophisticated society of that time. The society that considered itself as a sophisticated society, but it was actually frivolous. So this type of drama aimed to portray the growing materialism within the English society of that time, particularly the so-called civilized and sophisticated society of that time, and secondly, it aimed to portray and to depict the emerging frivolous into the relationship between two sexes, means men and women. So it was on in one way it was trying to portray the moral decay of that so-called civilized society of England on that time. uh, Comedy of manners was welcomed, and it was appreciated by the people because they were taking it as fun, they were taking it as humor. And the very important and primary writers of that time period are Dryden, Congreve, and there's another one, Etheridge. These are the important writers of the comedy of manners on that time, and Dryden and Congreve were considered remarkable in their dramas because they worked on the comedy of manners. But Dryden also introduced another type of drama, another type of form of drama that was taken as heroic tragedy. They were also trying to write on the domestic tragedies as well as on the heroic tragedies of the time. So that heroic tragedy shows actually shows Dryden's own interest in history because his play The Fall of Granada, Tyrannic Love, the conquest of Granada, the conquest of Granada, his play Aurangzeb, they are based on this type of drama, the heroic tragedies. So this was something new that was done by Dryden on that time. When we come to the romantic drama, there was, as we all know, that the Romantic Age was the age when the writers and the literary figures of that time, they just debunked the rule of reason, and they were a bit iconoclastic in their bent of literary writing. So they preferred emotions over reason. So the drama of that time was also based on some sort of emotions, but in order to focus on the emotions more than reason, the drama, unlike poetry, got a bit artificial in the romantic time period. So there wasn't any disciplined sort of drama because they were also trying to change the form of the drama. So we have only few names, in the prominent names in terms of the romantic drama. Most of the writers of romantic drama, they belong to Germany or France, because it was mostly flourished in Germany and France. And they did a lot of experimentation with drama, and they tried to portray the very idealistic themes and very idealistic sort of drama. William Schiller, Charles Gilbert, and Victor Hugo are the important dramatists of romantic time period. They wrote romantic drama. And then when we just move a bit forward in this regard, we find the plays like She Stoops to Conquer, and this sort of, this wasn't this can never be taken as comedy of manner, but it was an addition into the existing form of drama. This is some sort of romantic comedy. But we will have a separate discussion on the next journey, on the next phase of drama, that is just taking us towards modern drama. Thank you so much for today. See you in the next session, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.